Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we'll be making blazer jacket for our kids. I think this pattern can work with both male and female, and I know that I'm owing you guys a ball gown tutorial. It's not something that can be ready in a day, so please bear with me. I'm going to put it up soon. So I just mark a straight line to serve as our starting point, which is our shoulder line. And from there, I am marking my bust point and then my half length point, which is at 12 inches, and then the full length of the jacket, which is at 17 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the line across so that you guys can see what we are doing basically. And once I am done doing that, the next thing I am going to do is to take my neck, my half of my shoulder measurements, and my shoulder is 11 inches, but I added half inch for to add our sleeve. That's 12 inches divided by 2, which is 6 inches. And then for my neckline, I am going in by 2.5 inches, and then I went down by 1 inch for the depth, and then I connected it for a round neck. So the next thing I did is to go down by 0.5 inch for my shoulder slope, and then I'm going to go ahead and connect it to our shoulder line. We are just basically trying to mark out our basic bodies, and we are marking our back one first before we go into our front bodies. So today what I am doing is to divide my bust measurement divided by 4, and I am adding 1.5 inches for allowance. Then I'm going to go ahead and make a curve for our armhole. Once I am done doing that, I'm going to go ahead and I insert my waist measurement divided by 4, and then I added 1.5 inches for allowance, and then I am going to go ahead and mark my hip measurement divided by 4 and also add our allowance. The reason for using our hip is because the jacket is going to be extending towards our hip. If yours is not going to get towards your hip, so you don't use your hip allowance measurement. There's no need for that. So I just connected the the points that we just made. If you are cutting for an adult, please go ahead and insert your dart, which is going to come up soon after this video soon. So at our waistline, at our center back, I went in by 0.5 inches just to give it that fitted slanted curve. I don't know how to explain it. So because this is not going to have a dart, but I just decided to give it a little bit of curve. And that's basically all for the back bodies. We are going to go ahead and cut this out. Please hit on the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed up to this moment. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and thank you for all your support to my old subscribers. Then at our seam line going towards our armhole, I am going to go up by 0.5 inches, and then I'll connect it to hemline. You can as well leave it that way if you want, but at the end of the video or the sewing tutorial, you will see how it came out. If it's something that you like, you can go ahead and do it, or you can leave yours straight. Then we are going to go into our front bodies. Please pay attention to this because this is where is a little bit confusing, not really confusing when you pay attention to it. So I just went down by 5 inches, and then from the center I went in by 3 inches. I'm going to go ahead and connect these lines. Just go do the same thing the way you see me do. So this is going to be our starting point. That's our shoulder line, and I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same thing I did for the back. The only difference is at our neckline and then our armhole line, which I am going to show you guys. So I marked my bust point, my waist point, and then the length of the jacket. And then I also marked my shoulder line, connected it to my bust point. So for our neckline, just like we did for the back, I went in for the width, I did 2.5 inches, and then for the length, I do or for the depth, I did 2.5 inches, and that's one of the different from it. Then I also went down by 0.5 inches for my shoulder slope, and then I'm going to measure from that slant to my chest line. Whatever I have there, I divided it into two, and from there I'm going to go in by 0.5 inches. I will make a point there. Then I'm going to go ahead and insert my bust measurement divided by 2. Remember, our measurement is starting from the line that we marked. So I'm going to, and then I added 1.5 inches for allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and connect these 3 points that I just showed you guys. That's my bust measurement, the 2.5 inches we went in, and then our shoulder line. And I'll continue with the other measurements divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches allowance, just like we did for the back. Just go ahead and do the same thing for the front. So once we are done with all the measurements, we are going to go in by 0.5 inches as we did for the back as well at the armhole hem side, and then make a curve there. Then once I am done with it, we are going to go ahead and work on our lapel and collar. And from this, I am going from my neckline out by 1 inch, and I'm going to extend that 1 inch all the way through to the hem. This 1 inch is going to serve as our button. After the stitching is going to be our button measurement or allowance. I'm going to go ahead and connect this line. I also extended it to my neckline. Once I am done with this, I am going to go ahead and label this so that you guys can know what we are doing, because we are going to work with this label. So once I am done I'm done with the label, I'm going to go ahead and determine how long I want my lapel to be. But for this, I decided for it to stop at my waistline, which we just labeled. So I'm going to extend this to my neckline, just like you see me do. Please go ahead and do the same. But if you want it to be higher or lower than this, just measure how long or how short you want your lapel to be, and then connect the line to the neckline. And then from the 1 inch that we marked earlier, I'm going to go out by 1 inch. This depends on how wide you want your lapel to be at this point. Just the time you can go in by out by 1 inch or 1.5 or 0.5 inches, depending on how wide you want it to be. And then I connected to my waistline, and then also extended my neck measurement. So I'm canceling out this other 1 inch. It doesn't matter anymore for as of now. The next thing I did is to bring in my back bodice, and then I'm going to go ahead and measure the neckline. This is the reason why we cut out our back bodice first. So as my own is my own is about 3.25. Mine is about 3.05, sorry. So I'm going to go ahead and extend it to towards our shoulder line. For this extension, it's not going to be straight. You're going to slant it, just like the lapel is coming up. You're going to slant it that way, and then make a point there. Then from that point, I'm going out by 0.25. This is the reason for this, is so that by the time we attach our collar, it's going to sit perfectly well. So I'm going to extend the line that is coming from the shoulder line, and we are going to go ahead and cancel out the other one. Is no more needed. Then the next thing we're going to do is from that line, new extension that we made, I am going in by 2.5 inches, and this line as well is not going to be a straight one. It's going to be slanted as well. Then from this, I'm going in up by 0.25. Remember, when you see a jacket, there is a demarcation or an opening between the collar and the lapel. That is what we are trying to create. I don't know if you guys remember it or can visualize it or picture it as of now. So I'm going to go ahead and connect this point, this point together with it's not going to be a straight line with a curve. So this is our collar, our lapel, And this is the our bodies, and that's basically all for the front body. Just pay attention to how I am going to cut this, so that you know how to cut this while cutting your own. All the cancelled lines, just make sure you don't include it on, or anything that you took out while marking, just make sure you don't include it in the in your pattern. So this is our pattern after we are done cutting everything out. So we are going to go ahead and cut out our sleeve for this. And for this, I'm going to go ahead and mark a straight line, because my pattern paper is not straight. So I marked a straight line to start as our starting point. And from that straight line, I'm going down by 4 inches. So from the starting point, I went down by 4 inches for our sleeve cap. And then I'm going to go ahead and mark my elbow at 10 inches, and then the length of my sleeve at 7. I cannot even remember the length of the sleeve, sorry about that. So I remarked the starting point because I felt that it's not straight. Then from the starting point, I went in by 4 inches. I'm going to go ahead and extend all this line. I have a detailed video on sleeve, both long and short video on short sleeve in my channel. I'll put the link in the description box so that you can check it out. Then from this starting point to our sleeve cap, I'm going to measure it. Whatever I have there, I'll divide it into 2 and make a point there. Then I'm going to go ahead and insert my round sleeve measurement divided by 2. I'll make a point and then add 1.5 inches there. And then from these 4 inches that we marked from the beginning of the paper to the 4 inches, I'm going to divide it into 2. Whatever I have there, I will make a point. For the purpose of those that doesn't have French curve, please go ahead and join that point that you made, then the center one you made at the 4 inches there, and then your sleeve measurement. That's all the points that you made. That's what you're going to mark. But for me, I'm going to be using my French curve to do the connecting. Once you connect the first one, you flip your French curve to the other side, and then you connect the other one. And then at my elbow, I'm going to divide my elbow into 2 and then make a point there. I'll add my 1.5 inch stitching allowance, and I'll do the same thing for my wrist, divided by 2 plus 1.5 inches stitching allowance. I'll make a point there. And then I'm going to go ahead and connect this line. And I noticed that my wrist measurement is wrong, so I am going to remark it just like you see. Once I am done with it, that's basically all for this long sleeve. I'm going to go ahead and cut it. We are going to add our allowance, the hemming allowance, as we are transferring it to our pattern paper. So this is all our patterns. I've gone ahead to transfer it to our pattern, and you can see I added my allowance to it. So for my back bodies, I've already added my stitching allowance for it. And for my sleeve, I added 1/2 inch at the armhole side, and then at the hem side I've added other allowances. And then for my collar, I added allowance 1/2 inch round. And then for my back bodies, I added just at the hem and then the back with the neckline and shoulder. My armhole, I've added allowance there, and then my hem, my seam side. And I did the same thing for the front one. I've already added to the side, that's why I do not have any allowance there. And that's basically all for this style. Okay, for if you want to use a different fabric, if you want your lapel to have a different color at the front by the time you are done stitching it, you're going to be using that same fabric that you want it to come out as the lining. But for me, I want my own to have the same color, that's the same fabric. That's why I'm cutting for my front bodies. I'll use the same fabric for my lining, but I'm going to use a different one for my back bodies. I hope you understand it, and that's all for it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.